I'm Sergio Torres, Partner Success Manager here at ACS. Today, we're excited to introduce Justin from Graphient, their Director of Channel Sales. And we're kicking off this month's Technology Deep Dive, where we get granular and really dig into the leading products and solutions and help uncover how these make an impact for your customers. At any point, if you guys have any questions, type them into the chat. We'll address them kind of at different points and towards the end of the call as well. So without further ado, we'll let Justin go ahead and take it away. And I just want to thank all the partners for tuning in.
Awesome, Sergio. Thank you so much for the introduction, ACS Cloud Partners team. It's really humbling to, you all gave me 4 hours today. You're turning down NCAA basketball to literally spend the entire afternoon together. Wow, on the first day of March Madness. I cannot believe that. But that being said, I'm Justin Lyle-Purdy, National Sales Director supporting ACS. ACS was the first national TSD to decide to go all in with Graphient. So it's really nice. It's been almost 7 months to the day since they started working with us. So huge thank you and shout out to their channel directors that are supporting the partner community. For partners that are here today, see a lot of familiar faces, and then people that I haven't had the privilege of working with you, understanding how you go to market. So looking forward to follow-ups from this time. In a second, I'm going to start sharing content with you all. Just want to give people a couple minutes to get in. Just a little bit more information about what we're going to go through today. So we have 2 really, really big product launches that have launched in the last 2 weeks. So excited to get to share those with you. I wanted to share different case studies on really where we're winning. So to help you all identify ideal customer profile. Also, what products and services are really landing with customers, where are people winning? And then what I'd really love today, if you put some questions in the chat, what I'll do is I'll take different pauses and breaks, assuming it's something that'd be applicable to a larger audience. I'll cover that in one of the different breaks when we have those times. And if it's not, or if it makes better sense to go into your specific case study in a one-on-one, that's really what this is. If we're taking time out of our day to not be in front of our end user customers, really my statement of purpose is I need to provide you a quantifiable return on your investment for making this investment in both your business and the relationship with Graphient. So again, without further ado, it's 3 after. Had great bosses throughout my career, guys like Curtis Heffelfinger, that, if you're not early, you're late. So we're going to get started. All right, so again, Justin Lyle-Purdy with Graphient, and I'll for sure just a little bit of my why. Why did I used to be an executive over at AT&T, supporting a really large team, and why did I go to a company like Graphient? Who is Graphient? Where did we come from, and what do we do today? So Graphient is really, our founder is Khalid Raza. His claim to fame is really the godfather of SD-WAN. So Khalid was a distinguished engineer at Cisco for 17 years. And back in 2008, he actually pitched to Cisco the first SD-WAN product. Essentially, he started building out SD-WAN inside of Cisco. Over the years, it got scrapped. They were of the opinion, Cisco was back in 2008, 2009, that customers were never going to leave MPLS and use internet and SD-WAN. That's a pipe dream. So eventually Khalid left Cisco and he co-founded a company called Viptela. Viptela was really the first SD-WAN company that Cisco acquired for $640 million back in 2015. And Khalid, over the years, he got to build out the global networks for Verizon, AT&T, Deutsche Bank, JP Morgan Chase, Bank of America, all for Cisco. He started in the late teens, started running into more and more challenges where the current, really the current networks that customers had for wide area network were having a lot of issues. So when he would talk to a Bank of America or JP Morgan Chase, they looked a lot like this. They had internet, they had some MPLS, they had SD-WAN or SASE. And what they're trying to do is easily connect any location to any cloud application or any SaaS application, any cloud application, any data center. And customers have headquarters. They also have campus environments. They have branch offices. They have connected devices like IoT or operational technology. And really, what he'd always have complaints from large enterprise customers. I have all these IPsec VPNs where I don't have visibility of my data in motion. I don't have security, and it's operationally really challenging, especially if I acquire another entity where I'm a Cisco SD-WAN customer and I acquire a Verizon MPLS customer who then does an acquisition and acquires, 50 location Fortinet customer. The only way you can really have those networks talking to one another back in 2018, 2019, frankly, many customers today in 2025 and 26, is IPsec tunnels. So we really thought there's a better way. Second challenge that these customers were having is in the late teens, there was just so much growth when it came to public cloud. And when I say public cloud, I mean AWS, Azure, Google, and Oracle. Uh, very expensive to connect. A lot of customers were backhauling traffic to data centers like Equinix and Digital Realty, or what they're doing is they're IPsecing over their SD-WAN appliance or their firewall. And incredibly costly, poor performance, you have high latency. That didn't really meet a lot of customer needs. So he took out a couple $100 million from Sequoia Capital to Bear Capital. And then we did our Series B through the Saudi Investment Fund after we helped build out STC, so Saudi Telco Aramco's domestic network. And really what we look like today is this. We are a next generation network as a service fabric. So really a software defined network. So with this solution, we've globally built out our core network. So really what we do today is any location to any location. So that's just like traditional MPLS or SD-WAN. Any location to any cloud, meaning if I'm a Graphient subscriber and I'm working out of my home office right now, and I need a 1 gig direct connect or an express route to AWS in Tokyo, I actually have the capability to stand that up today from my home office, as do each one of you all. That's kind of crazy, right? A lot of customers traditionally think, man, that's a really hard undertaking. That could take weeks to go install a Ethernet private line, could take months. I typically have to pay for things like cross connects. God forbid I want to go securely connect to an application or another business. That's really standing up IPsec VPNs. That feels cumbersome and complex. And what we're going to talk about today is how we do, really we're a single SKU product, literally one SKU. And we really have multiple different use cases that our partners are winning with. And I wanted to share those with you for large enterprise customers, but also the smallest of the small. Because even though this is a network that's really a global network that was built out for enterprise customers, this is also something that a 2-location customer could have that same kind of utility. And really what I'm going to do is go through ideal customer profile. I'm going to go through what we're either replacing or augmenting, and then how to engage and how to win and how to ask the right questions to qualify an opportunity. So we're, again, a single SKU, and really what we're doing is we are a consumption-based SKU. So we're really what we're selling to customers are tranches of credits at a fixed price. Consumption's based on bandwidth. So like when we look at this network, right, what we're trying to understand is what regions the customer is connecting to, what applications does the customer want to consume over Graphient. That's really all we're doing. And we're making those allocations. Really what we're doing, just like when you all sell fiber-based internet or fiber-based Ethernet, you're basically doing an allocation on what the customer need is, and you're really leasing fiber from a service provider. Instead, really what we're doing is allocating bandwidth for Graphient for your customer. And we're tokenizing that just similar to the cloud with like the way AWS or Azure sells. And our consumption rates vary based on how many regions and then what kind of service are you consuming. Where this is incredibly beneficial, and we have customers that can literally reduce total cost of ownership for their end user, is you don't have exorbitant hardware costs, you don't have perpetual licenses, and you're not having to do different subscriptions. It is usage-based credits to provide traditional network services. So a couple of the use cases that are really jumping out to us. And when we talk about these use cases, really what we're talking about is this. These are the products that you can actually support your customer with Graphient. So as I was sharing, if I wanted to go do branch to cloud, so if you need an express route, if you need an Ethernet private line connecting a physical end user location to any cloud provider, in any region globally. So for AWS, Azure, Google, or Oracle, that for us is a Graphient solution. Literally, all we're doing is we're understanding what region or regions customer can log into their portal, or our customer success team logs into the portal, and we literally type in their account ID with AWS, what LAN segment they want to connect to, what speed and region or regions, what cloud providers, and we literally are point and click choosing that bandwidth and subscribing to it. We can turn it up, we can turn it down, we can change the speed. It's all consumption based. So meaning if you have a customer that needs direct connect for a week, we're one of your players for that. If you have, what's neat about this is it's all consumption. So meaning if you have a 40 location customer that historically what they've done is backhaul traffic across the wide area network, then they connected to a data center like Equinix, needed a cross connect, and then needed a megaport to connect to AWS. Great. That's basically what you're having to do is backhaul traffic. You have additional hops and latency, where what we're saying is any of your locations globally could directly connect without having to stand up a circuit or a cross connect to a cloud provider. For SD-WAN replacement, we are an any-to-any topography. So if your customer has any of the large OEMs like the Ciscos, the Fortinets, Palo Altos, the VMwares, the Silver Peaks, that we are either a replacement or an augment, meaning could we tie in two disparate networks? Absolutely. Could we replace existing SD-WAN? Absolutely. If the customer doesn't have SD-WAN today, because we're a single SKU and you're already setting up branch to cloud, you technically get your SD-WAN for inclusive of that. So like if you have a customer who got a 2-location oncology center and they were quoted $10,000 a month because of a large fiber build at each site to stand up a direct connect to AWS. Well, what that customer would get if they're doing that through Graphient, whether they want it or not, it's all consumption based. They'd have their SD-WAN, they'd have their SASE, ZTNA remote access, they'd have their firewall, they'd have their observability license. We provide data assurance. So when we say data assurance, what we enable customers to have access to in real time is you have full access to every single web session, every single packet, every single server session. So packet loss, latency, and jitter. So that way you can do annual audits. You can build routing. You can build policy for user groups or per user or per device on how your traffic's really flowing. Think about Uber. When you're seeing an Uber, what you're doing is you're seeing your driver come to a destination. Really, you're seeing visibility of data in motion. When we say data assurance, really what we're doing is giving you real-time streaming telemetry so that you can see your data in motion, but also control your path, source, and destination. We connect customers for business-to-business data exchange. For those on this call that haven't sold business-to-business data exchange, that's probably one of the biggest opportunities in the industry. If you have any healthcare customers in financial services, payment processors, or frankly, one business that needs to either share an application or securely connect to another. If you have a customer that has VPN clients and you'd like them to have the same performance as a direct connect for less cost than a VPN, and you haven't sold B2B data exchange, which I would assume would be 98% of the audience on this call today, it's a great opportunity for us to dive deeper and learn more. And we're gonna cover that in a little bit. And then we connect disparate networks, or we're pre-built for multi-tenancy. So if you have MSP partners, this is a great solution for an MSP. Many of our customers look a lot like managed service providers, meaning they have multiple lines of business. So also please think of us as that use case, meaning you can segregate and stand up multiple tenancies within our platform. So again, going back to this solution, those are all the products that you can really utilize, and we're just purely a consumption based, meaning you can do this on a month to month. You can buy credits on a term agreement, and they're deeply discounted on a one year, 2 year, or 3 year. But you have that optionality and flexibility. So like when I hear customers needing to spin up services, spin down services, they need temp solutions. They have locations that are moving. They have leases that are 8 months or 14 months. That is an ideal customer profile. And when we think about ideal customer profiles, we are your branch to cloud. There is not a single other vendor in your portfolio that same day could connect a remote physical location to a hyperscaler in the same day. We're literally your only game in town for that product today. Many of your customers don't realize there's an easier, less expensive way to do it. When you have a customer that wants to reduce their cost with an OEM. So when I worked at AT&T, the thing that just wildly shocked me is, really AT&T, when we were reselling Palo Alto, Cisco, Fortinet, I always thought of the service provider SD-WAN, same with an aggregator, is really they're taking that appliance and they're turning that into a monthly recurring, just like the traditional telecom services like circuits and voice. But I didn't realize there's 4 additional licenses or cost centers for every one of those sales. Customer has a firewall license. Customer has their edge security license. Customer has an observability license. And if they're connecting any one of those gateways, so they're one of those SD-WAN or firewall gateways to any cloud provider, now they have a 4th license on top of that monthly recurring. So from it, if you're helping customers with lifecycle and telecom expense management, we can eviscerate their total cost of ownership. And you don't have to replace all of it. More often than not, if you can replace one of those licenses, you can provide all of these services at a comparable price to one of those licenses. So really what you're doing as a channel partner is you're hunting use cases. Customers that are born in the cloud, one of the biggest fallacies that partners make, massive fallacy, is my customer's small. They just look at me as their circuit person. They're a 2-location customer. Many of those 1 and 2 location customers, if we're not asking, are they connecting to public cloud? More and more customers are really SaaS, AI, and cloud driven. Those customers spend 10 to 20x what they buy in carrier services on standing up cloud services. And really what we do is we don't replace those licenses, we connect those customers to their cloud environment. So I was mentioning earlier, multi-tenancy, an ideal customer, PE, VC backed, or a company that's acquiring other businesses or has multiple lines of business, you can build out that entire tenancy for that customer. So when I hear multi-tenancy, I hear Graphient. Healthcare, financial services and banking, large industrial that has operational technology, state, local government, and federal government, mid-market and enterprise, and MSP and service provider are the customers that we have the most success with. But again, if a customer has cloud or they have licenses from any OEM like Cisco, Fortinet, Palo Alto, Versa, VMware, they are an ideal customer profile to do a discovery on. The ones that I would say partners miss the most is a small business customer that's outsourced production to offshore, because those customers having workloads in the cloud. And it's really hard to do a point-to-point if you have a customer that's in Costa Rica trying to connect to AWS in Dallas. Doesn't really, like setting up a private line is not practical. So that means they're having to IPsec over VPN and they're just getting eviscerated on costs. Well, just a couple brand new services. NeoCloud and ZTNA. So just want to cover what that means in a Graphient world. Many of you would be shocked because you're like, well, that doesn't necessarily apply to me. I'm not, what do I care? So that's really my job today, is to make sure that you're identifying those opportunities for yourself. So when I think of Zero Trust, right, really what we've done is one of our parent companies has bought a ZTNA killer. So if you have a customer that had Zscaler, they have Palo Alto, and they're looking for their remote security, or really their edge security, we fully launched and became a SaaS company last week. So really what we're doing is we're trying to go head-to-head against the Zscaler, Palo Alto, Fortinet, or Netscope specifically for that secure service edge, and do it on pennies on the dollar. So like if you want to go, if you have a customer that Zscaler is the incumbent and you want to go crush it by 80%, that's really one of the things you're enabled to do. Really what we're doing is we're tokenizing or commoditizing Zero Trust. So if I'm a managed service provider or if I'm a customer, I can get this down to $2 a seat to specifically have your remote secure access. That's what gets us really, really excited. You can leverage that Graphient global core, and on a single platform, you can connect those remote users or secure those edges. So like if you have not been selling security, you're the network person, and you're trying to change that, it's a great opportunity for us. I've run into partners and customers all the time that say, I'm looking for a new SaaS provider, and SaaS is really a framework. But if you're looking for Zero Trust and remote access, that's really one of the places that we enable you all. So really what we're doing is scalable, secure connectivity. We're securing the edge. We're providing the real-time observability for that secure edge. We're providing the compliance, and we're making it operationally simple for you to sell and for your customer to consume their SaaS solution. So if this is a conversation that's coming up, you're competing against Cato, you're competing against Zscaler, you're competing against a VAR that's trying to stand up a solution, we're one of your enablement tools. So please just be aware that we have that. Yes, historically we were SD-WAN only. We intentionally launched that. When we say Neo Cloud, that means a lot of things to different people, just like cloud means a lot. So we have a lot of customers today, and it's a use case that comes up time and time again. I have customers that say, I want to go connect to GPUs or remote workloads. I need to go connect to a Zen layer. I need to go connect to G-Core. I need to connect to one of those big GPU farms. And really for us, with being a global connectivity company, that's what we're doing, is we're directly connecting customers and service providers to those AI workloads. It's something that's more common than you would think, especially right now. There's all these different AI data centers that I see. I was at dinner last night with a good friend. He's a chief operating officer for a healthcare system, and we were catching up. And he was asking me a little bit more about what's new for what we're doing. And I had the same opportunity, and he was talking about how challenging it is right now as a healthcare provider. They're trying to go stand up AI to automate different practices within their hospital system. But for them, they're having an issue from performance because they don't have a data center environment and they can't connect directly to that workload. And that's really the magic of what B2B data exchange is. If you haven't sold it before, let's cover it right now. So I'm going to simplify B2B data exchange. I'm going to share a brief video with y'all. And again, this is your time. I really this will only be a minute and a half, but I really think you'll get some value on really what this is.
Data between businesses shouldn't be hard. With Graphient, business-to-business data exchange is as simple as 1, 2, 3. Step 1, create your publisher inventory. Define the application or service you're hosting, specify its location, and describe how you want it to be advertised to partners. Think of this as publishing your data or service to your private digital marketplace, instantly discoverable across the Graphient fabric. Step 2, create your subscriber inventory. List your business partners or external organizations that you want to connect with. These subscribers will be able to request and securely consume your published services. Step 3, match and invite your subscribers to the services of your choice. Each subscriber receives a secure email invite to access your published application. They choose how and where they want to consume it directly from their own environment.
This is the same portal that we would stand up a point to point in a similar amount of time to a cloud provider.
And that's it. You've established a secure, policy-controlled, auditable data exchange in minutes, not months. With Graphient, business-to-business data exchange is simple, secure, and scalable, built for the world of AI and digital ecosystems. Graphient, the network data fabric for secure AI-driven business.
So I'm gonna drill into this a little bit more because I think it'll be really beneficial to kind of understand the how. So just going back to our network, right? So really what we're doing here is we have a physical edge device or we have a virtual edge device. So virtual means really like a VMware ESXi, or we're really installing a NID. And think about our solution as we've built diverse 400 gig routes globally, peering to POPs all throughout the world. So like when you've historically sold network services, meaning you sold a single location dedicated internet connection, that service provider called AT&T, called Charter, really you have a network interface. That's this little box sitting by the edge. And then if you're selling DIA, it's connecting to that service provider's core, whether it's AT&T, Verizon, Charter, Lumen, doesn't matter. And then it's using basically that carrier's core infrastructure. We do the exact same thing, except what we're doing is we're using the customer's connectivity in their buildings to connect. So it's then hitting our core through our network interface. And now it's in our core just like a service provider. So why that's super, super important is a couple of reasons, right? You know, I was sharing my old boss when I worked at Time Warner Cable, Charter, is on this call. He's one of our big partners. And he sold, you know, he managed people like myself that sold connectivity. So if a customer's got internet anywhere in the globe, they can go stand up that direct connect. But rather than it being connected via VPN, really what it's doing is it's hitting Graphient's core network. So just like when you're selling DIA, you're really hitting that carrier's core. It's the exact same way when you're hitting our core, except you're using your internet connection that's already at your branch. And that's really your limitation. Once it's hitting our core, it's completely encrypted. This is what's called a stateless core. What a stateless core means is we're not re-encrypting or decrypting your data. It's consumed, it hits our edge, and it just looks like a label header. So it's impossible to hack. And then once it's consumed, you have that data again. So we can't see that data, really who the producer and consumer is when it's at that core. And that's why we've had some great wins with the federal government. You know, there's a big challenge with Salt Typhoon, where our federal government got hacked, and those threats were just literally in dwell mode. Where this is a network that you can't hack because it's stateless. It has no physical state, and it also is a label header when we're connecting into our core. So again, why that's important for business data exchange. So my buddy Ken, who I was at dinner with last night, he's trying to connect to an AI workload. He's got internet at every location. For him, and as long as it took to watch that video, he can securely connect to that AI workload. So that AI workload does not need to be a Graphient customer. So really what he's doing is he's publishing that application they're accepting. We have a few people on the line today that are with the automotive group within ACS. So like when you're trying to go connect to Reynolds and Dealer Track, it's the exact same thing. If you want to securely connect without VPN, you want the same performance as a direct connect or a private line, but you want the cost structure of a VPN. That's really what we're doing here. And that's I'm of the opinion why I came over from AT&T is this is going to be the network architecture, really a network as a service at every major service provider that y'all sell today in the next 36 months. Right now, we're in this amazing time where we have the window to be first, but be first with a company that has the pedigree of creating the first commercial SD-WAN product and has the resources to support you. So when I think of how do I sell this to my customers, connectivity to cloud, this is one of our existing accounts. That $681,000 is not their licensing to AWS. That is their 12-month cost of ownership just to connect to their cloud environment. This is a very efficient customer, but they have transit gateways, net gateways, data charges, they have endpoint charges, they have two 10 gig direct connects. For all the remote sites, they're egressing over an SD-WAN gateway at 8.7 cents a gig. They have a DX charge. So for this customer, when they're using Graphient just to connect to their AWS solution, they're 47% less expensive per year. They no longer have direct connects. They no longer have a cross connect. All their egress is 2 cents. And the reason why customers go to Equinix or Digital Realty or CoreSite or any of the data center providers, use a cross connect and a Megaport to connect to their AWS or Azure, is to have that 2 cent egress. The problem is they have to either backhaul all their traffic, they still have to have that data center environment, and they still have to pay for a cross connect and a Megaport. What we're saying is any customer can connect from any site, have the same performance as direct connect, have the same cost structure of 2 cents to egress traffic back, but not have any of those additional operational expenses. So for this customer, killed their NAT gateways, killed their endpoint charges. This is a way to eviscerate a customer's existing spend to connect to their cloud environment. The other way customers are set up is through SD-WAN and firewall appliances. So we split tunnels. So we're $0 for internet usage, but where a customer benefits if they're currently using SD-WAN to IPsec or VPN to their cloud provider, they have to pay for a CNF cross-connect. They have to pay for DNF for virtual network function. Virtual means not real. They're having to basically pay for virtual space and a virtual license sitting in AWS for them to connect their Cisco Meraki, Palo Alto, their Fortinet, their VMware, their Versa. So to me, that's a massive, and when the customer has this SD-WAN VNF and this virtual hardware in space, they're paying 8.7 cents a gig to egress back versus the 2 cents. So it's a way to eviscerate someone's cost of ownership. And this 180K on this, if you divide that by 12, since this was a 12-month term, that is the compensable services to you, the sales partner. So this is, again, going back, really think of us as a cloud on-ramp, right? If you have a customer who's got SD-WAN, they have those virtual routers, they have that 8 to 9 cent egress, it's 8.7. And this is how we eviscerate their cost of ownership. This is just our before, this is our after. We reduced their cloud cost by nearly 60% because they still are paying a bill now to Graphient rather than having to do all those other things. 47% less expensive from a cost of ownership perspective for that customer. We covered B2B data exchange, right? This is how we rapidly connect any business to any business. So again, that healthcare provider, a great example, a couple of small business examples of B2B data exchange. So I had a 2-location organic food producer. So think of a $800 a month circuit customer. They have a headquarters with DIA, and they have a production warehouse. Well, great. They have to connect to 48 different grocery store chains for payment processing. So for them, it was going to take them 140 days. It's going to cost them roughly $750,000 in hardware and licensing to securely connect B2B data exchange to those 48 different grocery store chains. What we're saying is in a matter of minutes, they can go connect from any business to any business with the same level of latency as a direct connect, but without perpetual licenses or expensive hardware. So really think about, what I challenge everyone on this call today. When you look at your book of business, how are you connecting your customers together when they need to share data or applications? Because your customer is doing this regardless. Some will do it with VPN with horrible performance. Others will pay a large global MSP to go stand up hardware, software, and professional services, where you are in control of your customer's environment and you have a partner in Graphient to help you here. Talked a little bit about data assurance. So really data assurance, what we're doing, just like we're talking about Uber, is we're seeing your data in motion. So when we go back to this core, right, everything kind of starts at this core network. There's two products that are included in our platform that use 0 tokens of usage. One is a firewall. So if you're a managed service provider and you have 2,000 Fortinet firewalls deployed today, and you sold yourself Graphient as an MSP and then stood up your customers as tenancies, your annual cost for your firewalls would be $0. It's included in our platform. Same thing with observability. So we call that data assurance. If you're trying to look at every single web session across the global enterprise, if you're trying to look at every single server session, if you're trying to control your policy, your path, your source, and your destination, that's what we call data assurance. That is a standard feature that is not a usage-based feature because our customers split tunnel. So internet is free. It's the site to site across our core. So if you have a customer that has regulatory compliance, meaning they have GDPR, they have SOC, they have HIPAA, they have PCI, you have the ability to literally go provide annual compliance within our platform. And you can leverage our AI attendant to literally go do your reporting. So if you're currently paying for annual compliance, if you're a managed service provider and are not providing managed security for your customer, and you're not able to provide source destination, if you don't have real-time streaming telemetry over every single application on your customer's network, with our platform, you do. So I really liken this to having the same capabilities as unmanaged SOC. And then you have an AI assistance if you want it to go build out reporting or network function. So it's for us, right, one of the ways we sell Graphient is most of your customers have observability licenses. That could be Kentic, could be Thousand Eyes, could be CrowdStrike, could be Cloudflare. These are easy replacements because this is inclusive in our platform, meaning $0 of usage per month. That takes us back to SD-WAN or SASE. And again, if you have a customer that loves their firewall, loves their SD-WAN provider, or maybe they just did licensing, and their SD-WAN's under contract. We were created as an underlay network, and when we say an underlay network, we don't have to replace. We're a usage-based software-defined network. So if there's one of those use cases that makes sense for your customer, we don't have to replace everything. You can stand us up side by side with an existing SD-WAN, existing firewall, just to make sure everyone's clear on really what this looks like from a hardware and a deployment perspective. And this doesn't matter if it's SD-WAN or non-SD-WAN. What we're doing and why our founder got packaged out of Cisco is he decoupled hardware and perpetual software licenses. So we're 0 licenses a month, or a year, should I say. So we're installing on x86 Dell Silicon or Lantern boxes. That's the hardware that we're deploying service on. The customer's got a physical edge, so think of this as your SD-WAN or firewall gateway. Or we're doing virtualization. And so we really can take more or less any virtual edge. ESXi, KVM are the most popular. You know, a lot of customers that want open source, they want broad mocks. Fine. All we do is certify them, test them, and then we literally put our network as a service. We put our operating system. We either load it on one of these types of boxes. You know, a Lantern box is $240 for a 1 gig box with no licensing to replace a $3,000 Cisco MX and all the perpetual licenses for the customer's firewall. You know, again, at AT&T and at Charter, when we would resell Cisco Meraki, the customer still has an enterprise agreement that typically what they're doing is they're standing up their LAN architecture, they're getting their APs from Cisco, and then what they're doing is they're paying for this license for either Cisco AMP or Cisco Snort. And that's their global threat intelligence, which is, again, a free standard feature on Graphient. So you're not paying for that license. What's really cool about a Cisco EA, and our customers are the best at teaching us, is that's basically a commitment contract where the customer can turn up or turn down licenses. So I recently had a customer that for them, what they just did is they ended up just turning down a security license. I had another one turn down a firewall license. And really, they were using that quantifiable cost savings because their SD-WAN was still under contract to move forward with Graphient. Because again, if they have all these products, we're typically 80 to 85% less expensive. It's all a consumption-based solution. So I'll leave you with a few final tidbits. I know we're coming up on time, and again, I want to be respectful of everyone's time. But questions you should be asking your customer to help qualify a great opportunity. Really what we should be asking our customers is how do you connect to the cloud? Almost all of your customers connect to AWS, Azure, Google, or Oracle, unless they're really a very, very small business. You know, even your two location oncology centers, your small healthcare customers, your customers that connect to other business entities, they're all in the cloud. How do you connect or exchange your data with other business customers? You know, do you have VPNs? And if you do have VPNs, who are you connecting to? Are you connecting to other businesses, or are those VPNs for remote access, remote secure access? Do you have contractors that you need to securely connect to? Do you have PCI or payment processors that you need to securely connect to? Are you acquiring other companies? Are they a PE-backed or VC-backed company where they have multiple lines of business? AI is taking off, and all of our customers, if they're mid-market and above, are AI curious. And what most have not solved for is how they're going to go connect to this optimized workload. Typically, it's sitting in an AI data center, and you're going to have to find a way to connect your customer for them to utilize it. It's better to be first and be that trusted advisor that enables your customer to connect to that AI workload. Really what we want to be in that conversation is that secure connection. And then does your customer have any compliance or regulatory governance? Because as we mentioned, we're essentially providing every single customer at $0 a month an unmanaged SOC. So we have the ability to help our customers have mean time to innocence and make it easier for them to go build out their annual compliance reporting and audits. How to engage Graphient. So our go-to-market is we are a sell for or sell with organization, meaning my role and responsibility for a sales partner, we're not a educate someone how to go sell our stuff like a circuit provider or a UC provider. Our role is to be side by side with you all to help you win, meaning we're the ones physically on those customer calls. You're a trusted advisor. Really, what a trusted advisor is doing is hunting what the customer's problems are, and they're trying to trusted advisors really role and responsibility when it comes to Graphient is understanding really what are they trying to do, what are some of the challenges, and the key piece that really we get the best results from is if you could help me understand who's the logo, what business is it, so I understand the vertical and size, and then who is your economic buyer? Are you working with the IT manager? Are you working with the security team? Are you working with the platform cloud / strategic initiatives team? that's typically working with AI, or are you working with some C-suite, chief operating officer, chief financial officer? What we do is then we'll do is we'll build out white papers. We'll build out some scripting that you can turn into your own words so that it's specific to your customer and why they should jump on a call with you and Graphient. You know, trying to play a game of telephone with a product that you haven't sold before doesn't land. So typically what we're trying to do is help you understand what opportunities to look for and then come back to us and say, hey, I think I have a customer who's got a fit. They're trying to go connect to this other business entity or connect to this application. Or I have a customer that's really cost conscious and they're looking for ways to drive down their total cost of ownership. What we're then going to do is build you a custom script, custom email script, talking points, and white papers so that you can help facilitate that meeting for you and I to jump on a call with your customer and do discovery to help you win. And we try to be as customer specific as possible because many of our customers don't realize this exists. We've had most of our customers are massive billion-dollar plus organizations. We've sold to companies like Marriott International, Canva, Fiveserve, sold part of the federal government's modernization plan with the FAA. We sold to companies like Vodafone. So we sold to these massive, massive, massive companies. But this is also applicable to your two-location customer that needs to connect to another business, connect to remote workloads, connect to applications, connect to the cloud. My role is really to be that enablement for you. So giving you the scripting so that that customer says, oh, that's really, really interesting. I'd like to learn more. Could you set up that call with that vendor? And then we sell with. And typically when we're doing that discovery together, that's where you then have that aha for that other customer and that other customer that had a different need because your customer's educating about a problem that they didn't know they had a solution to solve. Probably one of the most validating things I've seen since I've been here is we're now partner only. We used to have a direct sales force. The only way we go to market now is through channel partners. We don't have a direct sales force today. We're channel only. But we had one customer as an inbound lead 2 years ago. And that inbound lead was they're about to IPO from between 45 and $65 billion. It was Canva. And they actually were seeking out a way to have multi-cloud automation and reduce total cost of ownership for cloud. So they essentially cold called us to buy from us. Again, a $45 billion company. So please feel comfortable with us, right? We have Freddie Mac, which is the largest asset holder in the US. These massive, massive customers know that there's solutions out there. Your billion-dollar companies literally have no clue most of these things exist today and that you can help solve their problems. With that, that's really the end of my comment. I can't thank you all enough for spending the last 45 minutes so that we could talk together about some opportunities. So a couple questions. A real life example. There's a question, a real life example of how a bank that has 75 locations across 3 states would benefit from our product. So a couple pieces there. So like one of our customers is Fiveserve, right? And so what they're typically doing is they're securely connecting to either to payment processors. They're securely connecting to different businesses they do business with. So like if I'm a 75 location bank and I do work with a title company like Stewart Title, I can now securely connect those 2 locations together for secure access. Essentially what you're doing with that 75 location bank is you're killing their VPNs and you're providing essentially direct connectivity from any of those 75 locations to either their cloud like AWS, Azure, or Google, or to another business entity. So that could be a mortgage broker. It could be an origination organization. It could be I have a Volkswagen. It could be to VW Financial. Really what you're doing is you're connecting that 75 location bank to their business partners, to their cloud. And if they have, I would assume that customer either has MPLS or SD-WAN. You can reduce their cost of ownership when it comes to their licensing for SD-WAN, for firewall, for security, and for observability. And then the other real core benefit is, God forbid they're making an acquisition. And maybe there's 75 sites are under contract and they're adding 3 more sites. Typically, your IT manager is not going to have visibility over those 3 additional sites. So if we're an underlay network, even if they have a different provider like an MPLS vendor or an SD-WAN vendor, James, we can securely connect those 3 additional entities to their core WAN, giving the customer real-time visibility and telemetry over their entire network. So like that 75 location credit union or bank is an ideal fit, because really what we do is we allow them to rapidly deploy services securely. So again, we're built for PQC. So federal government and large financial institutions, James, want to have security. Like one of my favorite wins that we have is this customer. If you guys Googled it, you can Google a company called Valmont Industries. And if you looked at their Wikipedia page, you'd see they have 12,500 employees. They're in about 45 countries across 6 continents. And, one of the white papers I would provide was one from them. They saved about $3 million on a Cisco refresh. They had Cisco Meraki's for SD-WAN. And for them, they still have Cisco Meraki's at some locations. Really what we've done for them is we've stitched together all their locations and allowing them to deploy at their pace, connecting all their global businesses together where they have full visibility. For them, cost savings meant nothing. For them, they wanted data assurance, meaning they could not see their data. They were fined multiple times because once you leave the US, GDPR is a huge, huge deal, keeping your data within sovereign boundaries. The same thing a healthcare customer has. They have to keep their data within state boundaries. So really what they want to do is have full auditability and mean time to innocence when it came to where their data lied, especially in different sovereign countries. And then the fringe benefit was when they were end of life with their incumbent SD-WAN provider, they didn't have to, it wasn't all or nothing. That's what's great about Graphient is you don't have to replace everything. Literally for them, their problem was they couldn't see their data in motion. And they were able to buy Graphient for negative dollars because they were able to tear down their Equinix fabric because now they could connect any branch globally to any cloud provider. They were able to get their data assurance and their visibility. And then we became their migration strategy when they were end of life with acquisitions that they inherited. So that's what we would do. Very similar to a 75 location bank. Only difference is, they're not global, but they have the same pain points. Can't see their data in motion. Hard to connect quickly and rapidly to connect from one business entity to another. And we're really that easy button for them. If I don't see any other questions, I'll stay on the line. Again, Justin Walpurdy. I'll throw my contact information in the chat if you'd prefer to talk offline, do a one-on-one. If anyone is going to be at channel partners, would love to meet with you face-to-face. Love to set up any calls because if this has percolated something that resonated to you, was interesting to you. Again, our job is to really provide enablement, but also to sell for, which is also helpful when you're in a referral partner. Also, lastly, because we're sell forward, you can sell to carriers. So 35 to 40% of our customers, our target customers, are really service providers, right? If you're talking to a data center company, we would be their global network fabric. Equinix right now, their fabric story is just Equinix Colo to cloud. They have no ability to connect a remote site to cloud without having VNFs. When you're looking at a telco like an AT&T, they literally cannot connect a remote location to cloud. Lumen, when you hear NaaS, really what they're doing is they're doing an EBC. So they're basically connecting their existing Ethernet customers back to their core and calling it network as a service. That's not network as a service. Network as a service is connecting any branch to any hyperscaler, any branch to any other business, or any branch to any application. Globally, doesn't matter who the underlying connectivity provider is. So again, let us be your easy button. Again, this is what we do. So the privilege of supporting you in front of your customers, that is literally what we're here to do for you. It's so nice to meet you all. Thank you for making the time. It means a lot. and I look forward to supporting and serving you. Thank you so much, ACS. Thank you, partner community.
Yeah.